Hello everyone and welcome to another video with Mr. Math. Today I want to solve a derivative, but I want to use chain rule. Okay, when do we use chain rule? We will use chain rule when we have a composition of functions. Okay, when we have f of g, on this case we're going to have a triple composition. We're going to have an f of g of h. Okay, and I want to show this part in here. So what if on this expression, our first function, f of x, we have a second function, g of x, and then we have a third function, h of x. Okay, our function h of x is going to be this base in here. Okay, 3x to the fourth plus 5. Our g of x is going to be this parenthesis to the square plus 5. And our last function is going to be just our x to the fourth. Okay, now we're going to start creating our compositions like this. Okay, we're going to calculate our g of h. This is not necessary for calculating the derivative. I'm just explaining where this comes from. Okay, so g of h. When I say g of h, I'm saying this x of g of x, this x in here, needs to be replaced with the equivalent of h. Okay, so that being said, I will have basically an x squared plus 5. But what this is telling me is instead of this x in here, replace it with h. Okay, and let's see, what is that h? That h is 3x to the 4 plus 5 to the square plus 5. And look how this part, that is g of h, now already looks like all this expression here. Okay, for the first composition, but we still need to work on that 4. Okay, so now that we have g of h, let's create the composition with f. What happened when we say f of g of h? Okay, what I'm saying is on this x to the 4, this x of f of x, instead of being x to the 4, replace it with g of h, whatever is equivalent to g of h. Okay, and what is g of h? It's right here. Okay, so f of g of h should be equals to what? Instead of x to the 4th, I will have all this expression, 3x to the 4 plus 5 to the square plus 5, and this elevated to the 4th. Okay, now how can we find the derivative applying chain rule? If I am looking for the derivative of f of g of h, okay, the derivative of this expression is the derivative of f of g of h times the derivative, this is derivative, times the derivative of g of h times the derivative of h. Okay, so the first one will be for the entire expression. Let's move it down a little bit. For the entire expression will be a 4 that multiplies what? 3x to the 4 plus 5 to the square plus 5, and the 4 becomes 3. This 4 in here becomes 3 times the derivative of g of h. The derivative of g of h is just what is inside. Okay, that will be times 2 that multiplies 3x to the 4 plus 5. And the derivative of this 5, of course, is 0. Times now the derivative of h, which will be 12x to the cube. And this is the solution of my y prime. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Remember, you can send your questions. If you have an assignment or something you want to check, we will be glad helping you. Thank you.